I was watching an interview with Melvyn Bragg, who's a very well-known British TV personality and writer, and he was discussing the art of the interview and mentioning some of his favourite and least favourite interviews from the past 20 or 30 years. And he mentioned going to New York to meet with Stephen Sondheim, and how for the first 20 or 30 minutes the interview went terribly. Sondheim did not want to talk about himself and just wished that Melvyn and the rest of his crew would depart. Into a kind of silence they all went, and then at last Sondheim looked up and said, "Well, perhaps what you want is a master class in musical opera, or whatever it is that he does specifically." At the time, Sweeney Todd was out, and principally the interview was about his relationship to that work, and somehow Sondheim came upon the right way in which he could speak about his own work. Rather academic. So while he provided a master class to Melvyn Bragg and the BBC viewing audience, it occurred to me that I could give whatever the opposite of a master class might be for whatever it is Sweeney Todd like in my world of music and how I write music and think of it. So generally when I'm doing any kind of music for some purpose, I try as little as possible to remember the purpose. I try to forget that I'm doing anything except having a little moment with the piano. Of course, at the back of my mind, there's some lodged thought that perhaps I need to write a song about the river or a bench, something that I don't need to think about deeply. It just needs to stay in the background like a shadow. I don't want to come out and start playing something and then singing about benches right away. So it's not bench, all a bunch. No. It's much more about listening. So I play and listen as though I'm listening to someone else play. And then if something strikes me, if I like it, I'll begin to sing along some melodic, to me, accompaniment. Regardless, what I do is this. Even bad notes I have a liking of. Bad note is almost like a foul taste, and then when you get back to the good notes, it's very refreshing. So then you find some bad notes that aren't bad notes, they're just sour, or they contain a bit of sweet and sour, and even that can be something that you realize, well, I have not played such a note, or I've not brought that sound into any song. Can I? Can I use that? Most of the songs I use or write are only a few notes, really. 3 notes, maybe 4 notes, and that's the heart of the verse, and 2 or 3 counterpoint notes, and that's the heart of the chorus. And then one realizes there are only 7 or 8 notes, or whatever it is, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and then there are various pitches. And if one thinks too deeply on that, one can be saddened by a seeming limit. It feels impossible. How can I do another song using the same 7 notes? How many They just seem to be such a tight limit when you think about it up close. The do to the mi to the re to the so. I try not to think about that. And oftentimes I get away from something that I originally begin. I won't remember what it was, but that I liked it, or that I liked it better than where I've gotten. And so I'll often just record everything and just keep going for 10 or 15 minutes. And then when I'm done, I'll remember that there were a few parts here and there that I liked, and I'll go back and listen to them and think about them and see if they feel correct to me. Can I work that into a song? And then perhaps if I find a melody that goes with those bits that I like, then I'll begin to think about whether it fits anywhere. The sound of it. Basically the sound. Does the sound fit with the idea of a bench or a forest? And only then will I try to work that into a very small opening verse, using simple words, sometimes not knowing many of the words, using them when I find them, and then simply mumbling the sounds of the potential words. And then if I can get beyond that, I'll try to find a counterpoint, chorus, that allows us to continue to stay within the concept of the song, perhaps enlarging it, or delivering it perhaps somewhere else, where it was meant to go. That's perhaps one of the joys of music, is finding these pieces of close music that go together but are different, that can reflect back upon each other and open up from each other a doorway into another place and then back again, and then that's my concept of music, and it's simple. I like them to stay simple in the basic frame that you can sense the simplicity. Because why not? Why should it be more complicated? That's all you need, I think. I make mistakes like that. Sing very poorly. Oftentimes that helps you discover things when you sing very poorly. There's a lot of mistakes that are helpful. A lot of bad things that turn out good. But I like this. It's familiar. So now I would do a number of things like that. And then eventually I'd have a little file out called demos. And I might write the date or something. And then later, perhaps right after I was done, I would listen through these different pieces very quickly and just find something that grabbed me most of all. Like I'd created a little bag of different holiday cards, and I was quickly flicking through them to find the one that I liked best, the one that felt the rightest, even maybe more important, that felt like it hit the feeling of the mood that I am holding in the back of my head. Or all of when the star come round. That helps me to find that vocal position and have it arrive from this place. So I can do this. Oh, I take around the spin down the pole of many. All about to see the girl I'll take any. Oh, I tell myself what time will be told of pine. Get up and dead and day, I'm pine. Millabon down, out in there. Millabon down, down in there. Sometimes I stay on something like that and keep circling around it until I find fuller, the most right expression. But I made like half of this, which I like. Fill-a-bone bell, how and then. Fill-a-bone bell, bow and day. Fill-a-bone bell, down in there. That's the labor of it, and the experimentation of it. And then it's whatever is most pleasing. Essentially, the most pleasing thing you can find in the shortest period of time is my fundamental message, something I would tell Stephen Sondheim or Melvin Bragg if they ever asked me, which they shall not. So I'll just do more. I've been doing at the beginning of these episodes those improvised piano pieces. And I don't have any requirement of those except that I must be present during their performance. And often I'm just rattling around on the keyboard. But at some point when you're rattling around, you can fall deeply into something, and then a fuller, I think the sense of that presence can be detected, and I trust that. I don't even need to trust the sound of the music, because it's usually not something that has a melody. I'm speaking strictly of these improvised piano pieces that might be at the beginning of the stories or at the end. But simply if I find myself having fallen into some few minutes of music, I'll notice that. I'll say that this piece, I went into it and was absorbed. I disappeared, and therefore there's a validity to that, aside from any musical structure or musical beauty. And that's a different thing than regular songs, which are much more things that you build, pieces that you build together, whereas that is a dream, a disappearance, and valid because of those things, at least in my mind. One of the great troubles I have is discovering what I've done after the fact. I write these, 10 of these pieces, and then listen to them again, and oftentimes have an enormous difficulty discovering what I've done. I've searched around, trying to find it again. It's awful. I should really learn these notes, all of these notes. Some musical theory, perhaps. I'm pulled towards learning and pulled towards musical theory and understanding, and I'm repelled by it. Because I'm so simple. I wonder what would become of me if I knew more. I like knowing only a few words. I like saying, it's like the Cat in the Hat, or I remember there was one of the Dr. Seuss books. Maybe it's Sam I Am, is that what it's called? Green Eggs and Ham. Came out of a bet. Theodore Geisel had with his publisher, that he could write a book using only 50 words. So those 50 words went into that book, and it worked fine. It worked better, perhaps, than a book with 100 words. So I like these conceptual 50 words that I have to work with. And to perhaps know that there are more words might make me encumbered with the possibility of such complexity. Maybe I should do these other things. And when in doubt, when I have no discoveries or anything that sometimes this just seems like a big, long bowl of porridge. I can't find anything. It's an empty bag full of lipsticks and things that I don't use. I'll just hit this button. Perhaps change change from the piano to something with a brindling doll and a bob one doll and a velvet sending bull. Elephant, a town and a ball and ball and a bell and town and a bag. It's only that's a sound, but the strain called Brand. So I would call that not a successful song. It was all around embedded in failure. But just try a different sound now. One thing I use a lot is the strings. And I think it's a weakness. It's like it's the purple prose of the musical world, the strings. But as they say, I'm a sucker for it. I don't know if I like that drum. Here's one I really don't like. Sometimes it's good, though, to do something with a sound or a pattern that you don't like at all. It shakes up the thing for you. And then always disaster. At any rate, this has not been Stephen Sondheim not being interviewed by Melvin Bragg. Let's go out with a bit of bubblegum pop. Don't remember how to play it now. Don't be, sin, don't be. beer, beer so dear. I sit tall, bed song when I'm on by.